Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday inaugurated the country's longest bridge, the Atal Setu in Mumbai. It's also the longest sea bridge in India. He also laid the foundation stone of development projects in Navi Mumbai. Shama Mishra and Shishir Shelar report.
January 12, 2024 marks a date with history in transport infrastructure development in India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the country's longest bridge, Atal Setu, in financial capital of Mumbai. The bridge, which is also the longest sea bridge in the country, will strengthen urban transport infrastructure and connectivity. It will improve the ease of mobility of citizens. Prime Minister said that it will enhance the ease of living for citizens. The bridge is about 21.8 kilometer long, with 6-lane bridges having about 16.5 kilometer length over sea and about 5.5 kilometer on the land. It has been constructed at a total cost of more than 17,840 crore rupees, which is about $2.1 billion. The foundation stone of the bridge was laid by the Prime Minister in December 2016. The bridge will provide faster connectivity to Mumbai International Airport and Navi Mumbai International Airport, and will also reduce the time of travel from Mumbai to Pune, Goa and South India. Later in the afternoon, the Prime Minister also participated in a public program in Navi Mumbai. He laid the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth more than 12,000 crore rupees or $1.5 billion. These projects are the underground road tunnel connecting Eastern Freeway's Orange Gate to Marine Drive. The 9.2-kilometer tunnel will be built at a cost of more than 8,700 crore rupees or more than $1 billion. The tunnel will reduce travel time between Orange Gate and Marine Drive. Prime Minister also dedicated Phase 1 of the Surya Regional Bulk Drinking Water Project to the nation. During the program, the Prime Minister also dedicated about 2,000 crore rupees or $241 million railway project to the nation. Prime Minister also inaugurated the Bharat Ratnam, or the Mega Common Facilitation Centre for Gems and Jewellery sector at Santa Cruz Electronic Export Processing Zone. It is the first of its kind in India, with best available machines in the world, including 3D metal printing. Prime Minister also inaugurated the new Enterprises and Services Tower. Namo Mahila Sashaktikaran Abhiyan to empower women in the state of Maharashtra was also launched today. Prime Minister termed these development projects as examples of good governance.
आज यहाँ देश के मुंबई और महाराष्ट्र के विकास से जुड़े हुए 33,000 करोड़ रुपए के प्रोजेक्ट का शिलान्यास और लोकार्पण हुआ है। ये प्रोजेक्ट रोड, रेल, मेट्रो, पानी जैसी सुविधाओं से जुड़े हुए हैं। आज व्यापार जगत को मजबूती देने वाली आधुनिक भारत रत्नम और नेक्स्ट वन बिल्डिंग भी मुंबई के लिए को मिली है। इसमें से अधिकतर प्रोजेक्ट तब शुरू हुए थे जब महाराष्ट्र में पहली बार डबल इंजन की सरकार बनी थी। इसलिए महाराष्ट्र में देवेंद्र जी से लेकर के अब एकनाथ शिंदे जी, अजीत पवार जी तक पूरी टीम के प्रयासों का परिणाम है। मैं उन सबको बधाई देता हूं।
Earlier, the Prime Minister also visited an exhibition of Atal Setu after inaugurating India's longest sea bridge. These development projects aim to empower each citizen of the country and make a bold resolution to bring India closer to its goal of becoming a developed nation by 2024. With Bureau Inputs, Shyam Mishra and Maharash, along with Shishir Salar, reporting for DD India.
And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 27th National Youth Festival at Nashik in Maharashtra, where he spoke at length on the role that the youth can play in nation building and the importance of youth empowerment. Vishal Beristo and Yogesh Sheetal report.
India celebrated the National Youth Day on Friday. To mark the occasion, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi travelled to Nashik in the Indian state of Maharashtra, where he inaugurated the 27th National Youth Festival. Prime Minister asked youth to work to take India to new heights.
समय हर किसी को अपने जीवन काल में एक सुनहरा मौका जरूर देता है। भारत के युवाओं के लिए समय का वो सुनहरा मौका अभी है। अमृत काल का ये कालखंड है। आज आपके पास मौका है इतिहास बनाने का, इतिहास में अपना नाम दर्ज कराने का।
National Youth Day is celebrated on the birth anniversary of the great Indian philosopher and social reformer Swami Vivekananda. Paying tribute to Swami Vivekananda, Prime Minister said that Swami Vivekananda filled the country with new energy and enthusiasm during the period of slavery. Prime Minister also witnessed a march past by the state's team and a cultural program on the theme of Viksit Bharat at 2047, Yuva ke liye, Yuva ke dwara. Prime Minister urged the youth to promote the use of local products and keep away from any kind of drugs and addiction.
जितना हो सके आप लोकल को, स्थानीय प्रोडक्ट को प्रमोट करिए, मेड इन इंडिया प्रोडक्ट का ही इस्तेमाल करिए, किसी भी तरह की ड्रग्स और नशे की लत से बिल्कुल दूर रहिए।
The National Youth Festival is held every year from the 12th to the 16th of January. Presentations by youth include cultural performances, indigenous games, speeches, young artists camp, poster making and story writing, among others. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also offered prayers at Kala Ram Temple in Nasik, Maharashtra. Kala Ram Temple is situated in the Panchavati area of Nasik, along the banks of the river Godavari. His visit to the temple came ahead of the consecration ceremony of the Ram Mandir at Ayodhya in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh on January 22. Prime Minister also listened to the recitation of the Ramayan's Yudh Kand section at the temple. The recitation, delivered in Marathi, was seamlessly translated into Hindi for the Prime Minister through AI technology, highlighting the harmonious integration of ancient tales with modern advancements. With inputs from Vishal Barrister and Yogesh Sheetal, Bureau Report, DD India.
Right, moving on, the 10th edition of Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit 2024 concluded at Gandhinagar on Friday. It proved to be a big success. Agreements for investments worth $317 billion were signed at the summit. Meghna Dev has more.
The 10th edition of the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit 2024, held at Mahatma Mandir, Gandhinagar in Indian state of Gujarat, concluded on Friday. In the 10th edition of Vibrant Gujarat Summit, MOUs for investments worth $317 billion in 41,299 projects were signed. Earlier in 2022, MOUs worth $228 billion were signed in 57,241 projects.
2022 કોરોનાના કારણે મુલતવી રહેલ વાઇબ્રન્ટ સમિટમાં આપણે 57,241 પ્રોજેક્ટ્સમાં રૂપિયા 18.87 લાખ કરોડના રોકાણોના MOU કર્યા હતા અને વાઇબ્રન્ટ સમિટની આ 10મી કડીમાં આપણે 41,299 પ્રોજેક્ટ્સમાં લગભગ 26.33 લાખ કરોડના રોકાણો માટેના MOU થયા છે। इस बार के अंक में जो पार्टनर कंट्रीज और पार्टनर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं वो अभी तक सबसे हाईएस्ट फिगर है। इस बार 35 देशों ने पार्टनर कंट्री की तरह हमारे साथ सहयोग किया।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 10th edition of the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit on Wednesday. On the first day of the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit, Gujarat unveiled the multidimensional vision document Viksit Gujarat at 2047. The summit saw seminars on the next phase of Japan's involvement in the Make in India initiative, a dialogue on the topic of Decade, heralding India's Technological Decade seminar on renewable energy, skill development, startups, space sector, and more. Ahead of the summit, Prime Minister Modi opened the country's largest Vibrant Gujarat Global Trade Show 2024. The 10th edition of the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit featured a global trade show with participation from 20 countries, where these countries showcased information about their industries. The trade show witnessed 100 participating countries as visitors and 34 countries as partners.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. Israel rejects South Africa's accusations at the World Court, calls them grossly distorted. Russia's Medvedev says any UK troop deployment to Ukraine would be a declaration of war. And Myanmar's junta agrees to a temporary ceasefire with an alliance of ethnic armed groups.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political, and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Israel has rejected South Africa's accusations as the United Nations top court, calling them grossly distorted. It also said that the court lacks jurisdiction over the Israel-Hamas conflict. South Africa filed a lawsuit at the International Court of Justice asking judges to impose emergency measures to immediately halt fighting in Gaza. Israel told the court that its actions in the enclave are an act of self-defense against Hamas. And DD India's Ishan Garg has more from The Hague. Take a listen.
Well, at the crux of the arguments made by the Israeli side at the ICJ have been predominantly two themes. First of all, they're claiming that their attacks against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have been an act of self-defense. Legal experts say that this is something that the Israeli side is going to argue and is going to rely upon to claim in the ICJ that the deaths of the people in that territory are unintended consequences. Secondly, the Israeli side had also argued that the intention of genocide was not present by the Israelis. Now, South Africans had argued in the court that at the core of their argument is the fact that not only have Israeli authorities carried out attacks in Gaza, there hasn't an intent of genocide, and Israel today has said there hasn't been any intent because Israel does understand the difference between violence and genocide, which is why it's arguing to the court that South Africa's case is baseless to some degree. Now, legal experts have said that this is one of the finer points that will have to be determined by the judges before they can pass an order. Well, what comes next is going to be determined by if the judges are going to take into account South Africa's request for provisional measures, which is what South Africa has asked for. They have said that they want the violence in Gaza to stop, Israeli attacks in Gaza to stop as a provisional measure.
The applicant has regrettably put before the court a profoundly distorted factual and legal picture. The entirety of its case hinges on a deliberately curated, decontextualized, and manipulative description of the reality of current hostilities. South Africa purports to come to this court in the lofty position of a guardian of the interest of humanity. But in delegitimizing Israel's 75-year existence in its opening presentation yesterday, that broad commitment to humanity rang hollow. And in its sweeping counterfactual description of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it seemed to erase both Jewish history and any Palestinian agency or responsibility.
The overall case could take years to be finalized to reach a verdict, and legal experts have said that there are going to be rounds of written submissions by both sides. There's going to be arguments and counter-arguments, which would mean that the entire legal case could be protracted and could take 3 to 4 years to be decided. But what we can expect in the next few weeks is possibly provisional measures being ordered by the ICJ in Pretoria's favor, or they could simply reject that, and we will have to still wait for the final case to be decided in a few years' time.
The US and the UK attacked Houthi targets in Yemen after the Iran-backed group continued attacking ships in the Red Sea. The multinational operation was supported by Australia, Canada, the Netherlands and Bahrain. The strikes, though, run the risk of widening the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza.
Consequences were promised and delivered as the US and the UK launched airstrikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. The strikes came in response to the group's attacks on ships in the Red Sea. Last month, the US formed a coalition of more than 20 nations called Operation Prosperity Guardian to deter the Houthis and protect commercial shipping lanes in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. A Houthi spokesperson said that 5 of its fighters had been killed in the strikes.
The American and British enemies bear full responsibility for their criminal aggression against our Yemeni people. It will not go unpunished or unanswered. The Yemeni armed forces will not hesitate to target threatening sources and all hostile targets on land and sea in order to defend Yemen, its sovereignty and independence.
Witnesses in Yemen confirmed explosions throughout the country, saying that raids targeted a military base adjacent to Sana'a airport, a military site near Taiz airport, a Houthi naval base in Hudaydiyah, a Houthi naval base in Hudaydah, and military sites in Hajjah. The US says that the strikes were carried out by aircraft, ships and a submarine. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak of the UK confirmed that the country's air force participated in the attacks. He said that the UK will stand up for freedom of navigation and free flow of trade.
Well, we've carried out a series of strikes together with allies which will, we believe, degrade and disrupt the capability. The types of things that we've targeted are launch sites for missiles and for drones. Initial indications are that those strikes have been successful. We'll continue to monitor the situation, but it's clear that this type of behaviour can't be met without a response. We need to send a strong signal that this breach of international law is wrong. People can't act like this with impunity, and that's why, together with allies, we've decided to take this action.
Australia, Canada and the Netherlands supported the military operation by the US and the UK. Australian personnel were involved in the operation.
Australia's support of these actions came in the form of personnel in the operational headquarters. These are very important actions. The actions that have been taken today, supported by Australia, are about maintaining freedom of navigation on the high seas. They are about maintaining global trade. And that is completely central to Australia's national interest.
Japan supported the US and the UK actions.
Japan condemns the Houthi forces' continued actions that violate rights and free passage of vessels around Arabian Peninsula, including the Red Sea. Also, Japan supports the US and its allies' decision to fulfill their responsibilities in order to secure the free and safe passage of vessels.
But Saudi Arabia called for self-restraint and avoiding escalation. Russia sought an urgent meeting of the United Nations Security Council. US President Joe Biden said that he would not hesitate to take further action if needed. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar spoke to his US counterpart Anthony Blinken about maritime security, especially the Red Sea region. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, revenues from Egypt's Suez Canal are down 40% from the beginning of the year compared to 2023. Suez Canal Authority's head Osama Rabi said that traffic was down 30% between 1st and 11th January compared to the previous year. The number of vessels passing through the Suez Canal dropped from 777 in 2023 to to 544. The Suez Canal is a key source of foreign exchange for Egypt. It has been trying hard to boost revenues in recent years. There was an expansion of the canal in 2015. A further expansion is underway. Ollie Barrett joins us from London. Ollie, what purpose did these strikes serve?
Well, Ramesh, the UK and the US had for some time had assets in the Middle East region, in the Red Sea region, that they were hoping would be a deterrent to some of the attacks that had been started by Houthis in Yemen towards shipping routes in that area. That clearly wasn't really working, in the sense that those attacks were continuing, if not intensifying, in recent weeks. And so the UK and the US had recently warned that if those attacks continued, that there would be consequences, in their words. And Washington and London eventually got to the point where they decided that they needed to try and take some kind of military action to downgrade and disrupt, in the words of the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the ability of Houthis in Yemen to fire drones and missiles towards that key shipping route of the Red Sea. So from a UK and US perspective, this is designed to be a short, sharp operation that really disrupts the Houthis and stops them being able to affect shipping in the way that they have been recently. Clearly, in terms of what comes next, that is going to be the critical issue here, is have these UK-US airstrikes done enough to do that, or are we going to see continued attempts to disrupt Red Sea shipping routes in the days and weeks ahead from Houthi rebels inside Yemen? The UK has said today that it's not immediately planning any more airstrikes, and that early intelligence suggests that the airstrikes have done what they were intended to do. But UK officials are also stressing that they will very much be watching in the days ahead to see if that is indeed the case.
I'm sure people around the world watching this broadcast are wondering, can the world afford another war if the Israel-Hamas conflict spreads?
Well, one of the key calculations that the Americans and the British would have made here is exactly what risk they were taking when it comes to wider escalation. Indeed, we've seen US Secretary of State Antony Blinken touring the region again recently with the explicit aim of trying to make sure that the conflict doesn't spill over, doesn't escalate beyond where it is at the moment. And clearly the risk with an operation like this is that actually you could see, as a result of these airstrikes, escalation. We've seen very strong condemnation today from the Houthis, from Hezbollah in Lebanon, from Hamas as well, from Oman, from various other regional powers. And so this is a calculated risk that the UK and the US have taken here. They believe that trying to protect Red Sea shipping routes and also maritime personnel is of prime importance to those personnel, but also the global economy and their economies as well. And they feel at this point that that was a risk that they were in a position to be able to take. But clearly it's a calculated gamble by the US and the UK, and some critics of the airstrikes that we saw overnight UK time will say exactly that. They will say that they really do run the danger here of making things worse in the region rather than better.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Ollie, thank you. Ollie Barrett reporting there from London. And moving on, Ukraine and the UK signed a security agreement in Kyiv on Friday. It followed on from an agreement by the G7 to provide Ukraine with bilateral security assurances. The agreement formalizes a range of support, including intelligence sharing, cybersecurity, medical and military training as well. President Zelensky of Ukraine described it as an unprecedented security agreement.
The United Kingdom is announcing today our single biggest package of defence aid to Ukraine since the war began, worth £2.5 billion. This will include more air defence equipment, more anti-tank weapons, more long-range missiles, thousands of rounds more ammunition and artillery shells, training for thousands more Ukrainian servicemen and women, and £200 million to build thousands more drones.
Meanwhile, a senior ally of Russia's President Vladimir Putin warned on Friday that Moscow will regard any move by the UK to deploy a military contingent to Ukraine as a declaration of war against Russia. Dmitry Medvedev, a former president of Russia himself, is now the deputy chair of Russia's Security Council. He made the comments in response to a visit by British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to Kiev to announce an increase in military funding to help Ukraine purchase new military drones. Medvedev, whose frequent and harsh public statements, diplomats say, give an indication of hawkish thinking at the top of the Kremlin, also asked how the Western public would feel if Sunak's delegation came under fire from cluster munitions in the center of Kiev, something he said had recently happened to Russian civilians in the city of Belgorod. Russia's Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu inspected a tactical missile armament corporation factory in the Moscow region on Friday. A video released by the Russian Defense Ministry showed different elements of bombs and missiles and was told that all the components are 100% Russian-made. At a briefing, Shoigu said that new high-precision munitions are in the final stages of testing. Russia enters 2024 after almost 2 years of what Moscow calls its special military operation in Ukraine, and as shelling from both sides intensified in the last days of 2023. U.S. President Joe Biden makes his second trip of the new year to the hotly contested 2024 campaign state of Pennsylvania on Friday, where he will try to sell policies he sees reviving faded manufacturing hubs. Biden is expected to use the backdrop of several small businesses in the one-time steel and manufacturing haven of the Lehigh Valley to make the case that middle-class entrepreneurs and workers are thriving, inflation is waning, and that the 81-year-old Democrat deserves a second term in office. Heavy manufacturing in the so-called Rust Belt began to ebb in the 1970s, hollowing out once thriving American cities as rising costs and global trade drove businesses elsewhere. In South America, Ecuador's capital Quito regained a semblance of normalcy on Friday after the government's implementation of a nationwide state of emergency to counter the disruptions caused by organized crime factions. Locals were experiencing a gradual return to tranquility in the city after a series of tumultuous events since Monday. During this period, 7 prisons saw 158 guards and 20 staff being taken hostage. The prisons agency confirmed ongoing efforts to free the hostages. And now take a look at some more stories making news around the world. The World Health Organization issued a cautionary statement on Friday highlighting what the suboptimal vaccination rates for the latest strains of COVID-19 and influenza are placing strain on healthcare systems. The WHO underscored that COVID-19 remains a persistent global health concern. Brazil's seaside city of Rio de Janeiro, famed for its crowded beaches and lush surrounding hills, is sending drones buzzing into the air to disperse seeds as part of a high-tech push that seeks to speed up local reforestation efforts. A tough group of Russians ran an extreme marathon in minus 52 degrees Celsius temperatures on Friday. With 38 participants fully bundled up, the event included both a marathon and half marathon. Still to come on DD India News Hour. An expert take on the features of India's longest sea bridge over the Arabian Sea. The Coast Guards of India and Japan begin a joint exercise off the coast of Chennai in southern India. And India successfully conducts a flight test of a new generation Akash missile.
We are taking a close look at a seminal rivalry in West Asia or the Middle East, the undeclared war between Iran and Israel. These two major powers, both of which have strategic partnerships with India, but have been at loggerheads, and the tensions that flare up between these two countries can set the whole region in flames.
Israel became a nuclear power. even though undeclared. But Iran has been trying to, and many people say that it has already acquired sufficient expertise. Expertise it has. Whether it has the weapon systems or not, one does not know. So they tried to build up their arsenal, both of missiles as well as for the nuclear capable platforms, which is what gives a fear to Israel as well. Israel does not want Iran to become nuclear.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. Right, going back to the top story, India gets its longest sea bridge in Mumbai. Professor P.S.N. Rao joins us in the studio. Professor Rao is the Dean of the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi. Professor Rao, welcome to DD India News Hour. Now, I have 4 or 5 fundamental questions to ask of you for the benefit of viewers joining us from around the world. Okay. First and foremost, if you could walk our viewers through the features of this bridge in Mumbai.
Yeah, thank you. This is a state-of-the-art bridge. It's certainly the first of its kind in the country and 12th longest bridge globally. It's about 21.8 kilometers long. A greater part of it is on the sea waters, almost 16 kilometers, and the rest on land. And if you look at the peculiar features or the unique features of this bridge, it is earthquake resistant, and it has adopted base isolation technology, so that in the event of any major earthquake, then the vibrations would get absorbed, and there would be no damage to the vehicles passing by. Longer spans are possible here because of the kind of steel and concrete that they've used. It's a lightweight material they've used, and at the same time they wanted to reduce the number of piers or the pillars, because you need to do the construction on sea, and that's very difficult. Right. So therefore you have longer spans because of the technology. Reverse circulation rigs to reduce the sound vibrations. This has also been used. Innovative steel deck has been used here. Eco-friendly lighting, of course. And then real-time traffic information is also available to the drivers who are going to use this. And even the toll collection is going to be very quick. There is an ETC toll collection technology that is being used, so that you save on time. So there are several innovative first-time technologies that have been incorporated in this. And this is a state-of-the-art bridge.
Also, Professor Rao, why is it being called an engineering marvel?
Yeah, this is an engineering marvel because in India, these technologies have been used for the first time for the construction of a bridge over sea. So therefore, all these features that I've just now explained, they make it certainly an engineering marvel, because constructing on sea waters is not so easy. There were as many as 14,000 workers, skilled workers, who have been involved in the construction of this bridge. So you can imagine. And then we have now gone to the international book of records, so to speak. This bridge is going to be the 12th longest bridge in the world.
At the same time, Professor Rao, again for the benefit of viewers joining us from India and around the world, how will this bridge benefit the Mumbai metropolitan region and its people in particular?
Oh yes, this bridge is a bridge which connects South Mumbai, which is the financial capital of the country, because all the important financial institutions are all located in South Mumbai. It connects South Mumbai to Navi Mumbai, which is the emerging hub of the city or of the region. So it reduces travel time by as much as 40 minutes. Now 40 minutes travel time reduction in a city like Mumbai is a major savings in terms of time, and saving in terms of time and fuel will also contribute to increased productivity. So therefore it's going to help the economy as a whole.
Just to elaborate on that point, on the spin-offs, Professor Rao, in terms of boosting the local economy, would the benefits flow in terms of unlocking opportunities in tourism, for instance, or generating jobs?
Definitely. It's going to be a fantastic drive. You're going to get different views of the city of Mumbai in terms of the skyline. You can also view the Elephanta caves from this. But more importantly, I think it's going to reduce time and it's going to make Navi Mumbai a more preferred destination. So I can imagine that in Navi Mumbai, property prices are likely to increase. More people are likely to invest and open up offices in Navi Mumbai, because connecting Navi Mumbai to South Mumbai, Nariman Point, and all the important financial institutions are all located there. So South Mumbai and Navi Mumbai getting connected to each other just 20 minutes away is, I think, going to make a big difference, and it's going to boost the economy of Navi Mumbai, which so far has been not so well connected because of the Thane Creek Bridge and other things. So even the regular local trains that would take you to Navi Mumbai, thanks to the slums along the railway lines, the speed of the local trains had to be controlled. So therefore, it was taking a very, very long time for one to go to Navi Mumbai. So all these things, I think, it's going to be a game changer for the entire region of the Mumbai metropolitan region.
Also,
MMR.
Professor Rao, how did this project address issues such as environmental sustainability, longevity, or security, for that matter?
As I've mentioned, there are these unique features that have been built in to the construction of this. So there are fish and other aquatic life. So that is taken care of. The way in which the bridge is constructed, it dampens the vibrations which traffic on a bridge would normally produce, and therefore the aquatic life would not be disturbed. And the way in which the construction has been done, they've used technology in order to have a minimal disturbance to the aquatic life, which is the environmental implication here. So these things have been taken care of, and even the lighting is an eco-friendly lighting that is being used. So it's an environmentally safe and sustainable bridge. And also the very fact that you're saving enormous amounts of fuel by the reduction in terms of the travel time and the travel distance, I think that is also going to give you a lot of environmental benefits. So on the whole, I think it's the agenda of Atmanirbhar Bharat and environmental sustainability, SDGs, and the developmental agenda of the government. I think it's reflecting all of these.
And finally, Professor Rao, we know it's the longest sea bridge in the country today, but how does it compare to the world?
Yeah, in the world, this is the 12th longest bridge. So we have put ourselves on the global map, and I think we have proved to the world that Indians are no less better than the others.
Indeed.
There are a large number of Indian contractors and Indian workers who actually worked on this. This is called the Mumbai Trans-Harbour Link. And the MMRDA, the Mumbai Metropolitan Regional Development Authority, had initiated this entire project because they are responsible for developing the entire region. Daewoo, Tata, L&T are some of the contractors, TNT. So there's a group of contractors who were given different packages of this bridge construction. So we have proved to the world that yes, we can also, our engineers are as advanced as people outside the country, and we can also deliver on time and good quality products. So I think it's a great moment for us as Indians.
Absolutely. Professor Rao, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right, moving on in some more international news. Saturday will be a pivotal moment for Taiwan as the island of 24 million people engages in its most closely observed and hotly contested presidential election since the year 1996. Now, that was the year when it held its first direct presidential poll. The election campaign has been framed as a choice between war and peace or democracy and autocracy. Jessica Taneja reports.
almost 20 million voters will not only choose a president, but also decide the fate of Taiwan Strait, which is the center of global supply chains and major trade routes handling nearly half of global container shipping. To put this in perspective, 38% of India's foreign trade flows through the South China Sea, transiting the Taiwan Strait. Renowned as a semiconductor superpower, Taiwan boasts of being one of Asia's freest democracies, unlike China's autocracy. But its political status is a complex and sensitive matter in global relations. China views Taiwan as its own territory and vows to never renounce the right to use force. In fact, it has warned Taipei that seeking independence would be a disaster.
The resolution of the Taiwan issue is a matter for the Chinese ourselves to decide. We insist on striving for the prospect of peaceful reunification with the greatest sincerity and greatest effort. However, we are not committed to abandoning use of force, and we reserve the option of taking all necessary measures.
The opposition party Kuomintang, or the KMT, frames this as a choice between war and peace, while the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or the DPP, pitches democracy against autocracy. However, the election is not solely about relations with China. Taiwanese voters are grappling with internal issues like persistent inflation, skyrocketing housing costs, and slower than anticipated wage increases. The idea of a prolonged war has fueled frustration among few voters.
So this war that Tsai Ing-wen is provoking right now, I'm afraid of that war. I still dare not watch the news when I watch TV. War is cruel and cold. When I started serving as a soldier, people were forced to become soldiers during the civil war between the Kuomintang and the Communist Party. When they couldn't catch adults, they would catch children.
Others are wary of geopolitics, but yearn for a campaign more focused on their needs at home.
If the Communist Party of China wants to attack you, they will not care if you are the KMT or the DPP. This is how I see it. So based on this, I tend to vote for the candidate of a party that does not want to get closer with China. But if today, the party that doesn't propose closer ties with China puts forward a candidate without their own ideas, values or blueprint for the future, then I might gravitate towards not voting at all.
In the intricate landscape of Taiwan's elections, the choice between continuity and change resonates deeply. As voters navigate geopolitical complexities, the ballot becomes not just a political decision, but a determination to uphold Taiwan's identity and pursue a path of self-determination. Jessica Taneja for DD India.
Myanmar's military agrees to a temporary ceasefire with an alliance of ethnic minority armies at a China-mediated meeting. The military, which overthrew an elected government in 2021, has been battling an alliance of ethnic minority armies fighting to end its control of their regions since late October. In particular, there's been intense violence along the northern border with China. China's foreign ministry said that peace talks were held in the Chinese city of Kunming on the 10th and 11th of January, where the two sides agreed to immediately cease fire and stop the war. Both parties also pledged not to harm residents at the Chinese border. India's National Youth Day was celebrated in the Bangladeshi's capital Dhaka on Friday to commemorate the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, Pranay Verma, inaugurated the event organized by the Indira Gandhi Cultural Center on the occasion of the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. High Commissioner said Swami Vivekananda's teachings emphasize the importance of self-confidence and selfless service for societal transformation. On the occasion, artists from Indira Gandhi Cultural Center gave performances of Rabindra Sangeet on the message of Vivekananda to the youth. The UAE and India issued a joint statement affirming commitment to continue collaboration to reinforce long-standing strategic partnership. The two leaders held constructive talks, reaffirming the strength of the comprehensive strategic partnership and close ties between their countries and their commitment to continue collaborating to reinforce the long-standing and robust strategic partnership. The two leaders discussed the significant global roles of India and the UAE in 2023, including India's presidency of the G20 and the UAE's presidency of COP28. The UAE commended the endeavours by the Indian presidency, describing it as the most ambitious in the history of G20, and the efforts of both sides to maximise synergies between G20 process and COP28 over the course of 2023. At the invitation of Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan paid an official visit to Gujarat, India, as the chief guest of the 10th edition of the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit 2024. Both leaders have reiterated the need to unite efforts to immediately reach a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza to allow safe, unhindered and expanded humanitarian success at scale. The UAE reiterated the strong endorsement of India's bid for permanent membership of a reformed UNSC. The Coast Guards of India and Japan began a joint exercise off the coast of Chennai in southern India on Friday. The exercise is a part of a memorandum of cooperation signed between the two countries in 2006, wherein both pledged to promote interaction between the Coast Guards. Japan's Coast Guard ship Yahima arrived in Chennai on Tuesday and received a traditional welcome from the Indian Coast Guard. During the exercise, the two Coast Guards conducted drills to rescue people in case of a fire mishap or oil spill. Japan, India, Australia and the US are members of the Quad Group, holding annual naval exercises across the Indo-Pacific to demonstrate interoperability. India's Defence Research and Development Organization successfully conducted a flight test of a new generation Akash missile from the integrated test range at Chandipur off the coast of Odisha. The flight test was conducted against a high-speed unmanned aerial target at a very low altitude. The target was successfully intercepted and destroyed. Now, this paved the way for user trials, and the state-of-the-art missile system is capable of intercepting high-speed, agile aerial threats as well. And now take a look at some other stories making news in India. A delegation of farmers from Haryana's Hisar district convened with Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar as the Vice President's official residence in New Delhi. The farmers had the opportunity to tour the newly inaugurated Parliament House as well. Delhi police is on high alert ahead of India's Republic Day celebrations in the national capital. They've been implementing robust security measures to ensure the smooth conduct of the event on 26 January. The heightened security includes intensive anti-sabotage checks and increased patrolling. Celebrated Indian sand artist Doordarshan Patnaik skillfully encapsulated the 9-year odyssey of the Swachh Bharat mission in a breathtaking sand art display during the Swachh Sarvekshan Awards 2023 ceremony. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty breeze into semi-finals of the Malaysia Open Super 1000 badminton tournament.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Morgan Stanley has agreed to pay $249.4 million for making false statements in connection with the bank's block trading practices, resolving a years-long government probe. U.S. authorities said the deal, which resolves charges of deception, fraud and compliance failures, draws a line under long-standing legal worry for the bank. For years, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office were investigating so-called block trades that the bank executed on behalf of clients. Morgan Stanley admitted to making false statements in connection with such trades from 2018 through August 2021, and the bank has since rolled out clearer policies. Customers arrived at a cryptocurrency exchange agency in Madrid on Friday, a day after U.S. regulators approved Bitcoin ETFs. The products mark a watershed moment for the cryptocurrency industry that will test the digital assets' acceptance as an investment. Back home, the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across India with the aim to inform people about government welfare measures by ensuring that the benefits reach the targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The Yatra has reached India's Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. An IEC van arrived in Ramban district, where the local communities welcomed it with much enthusiasm. On this occasion, several beneficiaries share their progressive stories under Meri Kahani, Meri Zubani. And in sports, India's men's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty breezed into the semi-final of this Malaysia Open Super 1000 badminton tournament on Friday. The Indian duo brushed aside Chinese world number 32 pair 21-11, 21-8. In the women's doubles event, Ashwini Ponnappa and Tanisha Crasto of India lost to Japan's shuttlers 15-21, 13-21 to bow out of the tournament. India's Sumit Nagal books a spot in the upcoming Australian Open's main draw after registering a comprehensive win in the tournament's qualifying final on Friday. The 26-year-old beat Slovakia's Alex Molcan 6-4, 6-4 in straight sets in a match that lasted just under 2 hours to enter the main round of a Grand Slam event for the first time since 2021. Nagal, currently 139th in the singles world ranking, had made it to the main round of the US Open in 2019 and 2020 and then featured in the Australian Open's main draw in 2021. Nagal will face world number 31 Alexander Bublik of Kazakhstan in the first round of the Australian Open. World Cup winners Lionel Messi and Aitana Bonmati are in contention for the Best FIFA Awards, which will be unveiled in London on Monday. The annual award honors the most outstanding members of the sport, in which fans play a vital role and take active part.
World Cup winners Lionel Messi and Aitana Bonmati are among the favourites for the Best FIFA Awards that will be revealed on the 15th of January in London. Messi is the finalist for the Best Men's Player alongside Manchester City striker Erling Haaland and French forward Kylian Mbappe. Bonmati is up against international teammate Jennifer Hermoso and Colombia's Linda for Women's Award. Treble-winning and Manchester City coach Pep Guardiola is the front-runner for the Best Men's Coach against Inter Milan's Simon Inzaghi and former Napoli and now Italy coach Luciano Spalletti. Serena Wigman, Emma Hayes and Barcelona's Jonathan Giraldes are shortlisted for Women's Award. Morocco's Yassine, Manchester City's Ederson and Real Madrid's Thibaut Courtois are the nominees for the Best Men's Goalkeeper, while England number 1 Mary Earps is the strong favourite to take home the Best Women's Goalkeeper award. The 3 finalists have been selected by an international jury comprising of the coaches, captains, football journalists and fans from all across the world. The 15th of January ceremony will mark the 3rd time that FIFA would hold the Best FIFA Football Awards in London after 2017 and 2018 award ceremonies that were staged earlier. Sports Desk, DD India.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.